raggedy curls.
By his ramen noodle straggles.
That man.
We were blaspheming Cody Brown, so we felt like
you should be able to hear us.
Yeah.
Just he is the gaslight gatekeep queen. Like he was like gaslight something gatekeep
girl boss.
Yes,
and he is girl boss because he has a bunch of businesses. So I think he can accurately be described as girl bossing and gatekeeping.
God, he's insufferable. I'm just like, you speak and my ears bleed.
Well, it goes back to what we were texting about or whatever the other day of like, Robin did all this work for that.
I'd be mad. I'd be too. Okay. I would be big old frown face.
Crying all the time too if that was.
She just wanted to sit on the porch where her sister was, and now she got just Cody. Ugh, that's not a peaceful porch sit.
I don't have enough eyebrow to really like make it. I feel
it's almost like it's permanent. Like I feel like my mouth doesn't.
I know she has like frown lines. You know how some people have smile lines?
Yes, hers is droop.
Yeah,
it's sad.
Which I feel I don't like talking about people's looks, but when they did it to themselves, I feel like we have some leeway to comment on it.
And I just feel sorry for those girls. And they're still their frontal lobes aren't developed, but I'm just like, if they've developed under the watchful, controlling eyes of these two, I don't have much hope for them.
I mean, imagine that being your like primary social interaction is just those two all day, every day.
They're like, you want to go do something? Let's go together. Because one, even it's reality shows, so who knows what's staged or what's not. But let's just say that it wasn't. If you're talking about you're in both in your 20s in college, wanting to find a church home, why does your mom need to go with you?
To approve it.
Like, that would just be like, yeah, I'm going to go church, try out this church. I like this church. I joined it. But no, she's like, okay, we'll go together.
Yeah, and Cody needs to like sign up.
What do you think about it? Why is he even talking when we already see that he has denounced his own religion multiple? Like, no.
It's so, yeah. I don't know. I looked up some more clips of him like intensely whispering at her about how he's a monogamist now. I was like, this is the worst performance of any. Like, the difference between that and the Real Housewives in terms of just like, just going for it. It's just like, I can't.
But Mara, he has gone for it. Hey, what did he say?
Hello, everyone.
It was like a knife in my kidney.
You're right. That was his. Yeah, but that's him. Yes. Oh, enjoy. Ours are actually. I don't live on a main street, but I live on like a secondary street, and it looks like it's actually pretty clear already. So that's good job.
I love that.
But good job, Nashville. I feel like usually
also same.
Oh yeah. We're gonna talk about crafting drama today.
Hi,
Danny. Hello. Yes, it's a Sunday stream. Because I'm snowed in. But also, we keep trying to find a time to do it in an afternoon so that different people can come if they want to. So
life be life, and so sometimes weeknights don't work. Do they? No. Well,
they do. I think they have like I forget like functions in the fellowship hall that are basically a dance.
I wonder if it's like I had when I waited tables in my early 20s, I waited tables with some girls who went to the Catholic school that was where I grew up, and they always used to talk about dances at their high school that they were like, you make sure you leave room for Jesus. Like if you're between
they had basketball at ours, and they were not allowed to call them dances. They called them functions. And they had the basketball, and if you were closer than the basketball,
Wow, just out here.
So what ended up happening is as the night would wear on, like I'm remembering this from prom, the people who wanted to grind, because I went to school in the era where you were grinding, as you're dancing, would kind of like get in the middle so that they were surrounded by people who were obfuscating how close
Yes.
they were together.
Ah.
Okay, growing up, and I still had school dances, including prom. There we go.
I'm sure it also varies on where you are as a Mormon. Like maybe they're more strict in like Utah or like in a really heavy like
That's
Idaho. True. Yeah, because I had like a friend from middle school and we still kept in touch. We went to separate high schools, but she was the first Mormon I knew. And but she still, besides like, her shorts were longer and stuff, she was pretty normal compared to what I know of Mormon youth. But that also was in South Carolina. There are Mormons, but not like,
there we go. Maybe it also depends on just like maybe like ward to ward how strict they are. Because I remember
seem to vary.
Mormon stories they talk about bishop roulette, where like a lot depends on how lenient your bishop is.
You can get lucky with one who like seems to be understanding
who's
or not
a little more chill versus one that's like really strict. I don't know.
Like even listening to Sherry Frankie's book and talking about one of her bishops, it seems like they were telling her like it's important to take care of your mental health and like encouraging her.
Oh, I love that.
For a therapist. And I'm like, but yeah, I'm like halfway through that and I'm just like,
I watched a like 5-hour stream on Mormon Stories last night where they were reviewing the book. So I feel like between that and whatever you report to me of additional details.
Yeah. I always go in waves. This is with me with everything in life. I go in waves and I go in waves where Mormon Stories is like the only thing I'm watching.
Me too.
I have not watched it in a while. So I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, it came up and I was like, oh yeah, I do want to hear the Mormon Stories panel on this. It was good.
Did you see that Cara, who is Nuance Ho on TikTok, she's getting a divorce?
I did see that.
She was talking about like dropping her kid off with like I think her parents or something, and saying going through divorce. And I just thought of it, made me sad because I love the stories where couples come, they're able to together.
Yeah.
And so it just made, and I don't know if that's what it was, religion, because it seemed like they both were out of it, but I just was like, oh.
I think it seems like they're very different people in some ways in terms of what they like. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on someone's relationship. It occurred to me that when I was watching some of her content of like, oh, this is a couple that like, I wonder if they would have gotten married and made the choices that they made if they hadn't been Mormon. Like, even if they're really, it seems like they're still good friends, but it seems like maybe they had some compatibility issues, which once you're out of a high demand religion, you have more space to like acknowledge and do something about.
Yeah.
But
I just saw that, it was like, oh.
I know. It is really, I think it's really special if a couple can go through that kind of change and stay together.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel, Jess, but the excerpts I've heard of the Sherry Frankie book, it sounds like it's really well written too. Like even the interest.
Because I'm just listening to the audio and so I don't know. I didn't look at the cover or know if there was a co-writer, if it's just her, but I was like, oh, this is what is she, very early 20s? I don't know how old she is.
Yeah, so, she's still pretty young. I haven't heard anybody mention her co-writer. Doesn't mean it's not there, but
yeah. But no, so far, really good. Just like some of it, I'm just like, of course, co-writer Ruby. But just hearing the different things and like I didn't know, because obviously I didn't watch 8 Passengers. But I didn't know that Sherry also had a channel.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I did. They mentioned that last night. Yeah. I didn't know that either.
And she's like reflecting on like feeling bad for basically following in her mom's footsteps and like, you know, she essentially says like exploiting her siblings, like putting that stuff on there, but it's like what she saw on what to do, and she wanted like to make her own money and be independent. Of course, that money was being kept by Ruby, but
yeah, okay, so she does have a co-writer. Well, they apparently had a very good collaboration because it seems like it was well done.
I have fought the urge to listen to get the Ginger whatever, because here's the thing, I was like, oh, I could listen to it and tell you about it, but I just know that she's not going to say anything of substance. The furthest anybody was going to go was what Jill did, and still it's not going what I want out of a, you know, like you're not telling me much.
Well, like the Sherry book, it seems like she's in a place where she's, you know, and she still, I believe, is a practicing Mormon, so she still has her faith. But it sounds like has enough perspective to still have like criticism or to be able to like think critically about her experiences. Like she's willing to do that. And it just doesn't seem like they are, which just makes for a boring book.
Yeah. It's like, what is
of like, not because I want them to like spill the tea, but just it's like the point of the book is to like find out the details, but also get insight into them. Like,
yeah,
the passages they were reading on what I saw last night, it seems like Sherry has like a good amount of insight into what happened and
like your reflection.
Yeah.
Even some self-reflection, even some, you know, self-critique of like, oh, now, because like her talking about her YouTube channel, like looking back on it, that was, not to derail completely, but that was one of my problems with Harry's memoir. I was like, I feel like you need a lot of therapy and more self-reflection, because you have much to unpack here, sir, and you're just giving me these lines, and I'm like, do you not see a problem with what you did there?
Yeah, it's like some parts of it was clear he'd been to therapy and done some like processing, and then there were other things where it was like, oh, you don't have any, like, and because he had some things, I was like waiting for, like, especially all the stuff about Africa, I kept waiting for it to like come back and him like have some reflection about that.
Yes. No.
It just like never. I was like, oh, okay, I guess not.
Yeah.
And to Char's point, I think that's also like, it would be interesting if she ever decides to write another memoir. Like I like
later in life.
Yeah, like I think that can be interesting too, of people who are sort of serial memoirists, like Dave Sedaris has written several. It's a different genre, but anyway, it would be interesting in like 20 years if she writes another memoir with like even more time having passed, and you know, maybe having her own kids and having a new perspective on like how fucked up what her mom and her dad did to her was.
Yeah. No, Sam. I love that she only names like her brother Chad, who was
who's an adult
other younger siblings, and I thought that was really well done.
Class act.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was a little Mormon. You know, all roads lead to Joseph. That is our moniker.
Always bring it back.
Always. Got to stay true to our roots. It's to never Mormons.
Yeah.
Oh,
but, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows? This is as close as I'm getting to my mission. And one day we're gonna venture out to Salt Lake City.
We are. I truly think someday we'll do a field trip.
Yeah, we're gonna look outside and be like, look at that temple there. Oh, and then we have to go to one of the soda shops.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We have to go to a soda shop and like a cookie.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be so funny.
Oh, I messed this up.
Imagine the vlog.
Oh my gosh. Imagine, like, I feel like, I don't know, it'd be like, here's the site of the Mountain Meadows Massacre. Like, I'm like, all the fucked up things through Mormon history, be like, hey, here's our field trip of all the horrible
Oh my
things.
God. If only like we had the time, the resources to go, and we're like, okay, we're here in the motherland. We're in Missouri. We're in Nauvoo.
We're in upstate. We're in, what is it, Palmyra? We're doing the full circuit.
Yeah, we're like, this is where he found the books, the plates.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
It's so interesting to hear outside perspectives on the insanity.
I want to, outside of the Mormon thing, the view I always see of Salt Lake, just the mountains looks pretty, and one of my friends
It does
lives
look
there.
beautiful.
But yeah, then the Mormonisms. I'm gonna
There's
go look. I'm like, who can I cite? Will I see anyone I know?
well, it's I don't know. Mormonism is just so American. That's the other piece of it, is it's like fascinating because it's really, learning about it is about learning about our own.
Yeah, even though they go spread their wings to try to bring in everybody. I was so shocked when I knew about missions, but for some reason I thought they were only in the United States. And then when I found out they were going to like worldwide, I'm like, my lord, why are you in Chile? Please leave.
Leave those people alone.
Why haven't we done enough? Have we not caused enough international strife?
It is our specialty,
And yet,
and we learned it from the best.
Yeah,
the motherland. Well, would you like to talk about craft drama?
Yes, tell me what's going on.
Okay,
what's popping?
So we have a drama we're going to talk about, but I was reflecting on like the different dramas we could cover, and it made me want to come up with what I'm calling my taxonomy of crafting drama. And I thought it would be interesting, since I am talking right now to the queen of book drama, to just get your perspective on where it is similar and different. Spoilers, my hypothesis is that all community dramas are the same. They all have the same.
That's a fair hypothesis.
Yeah. So the categories are exploitative money issues, a common enemy, what I'm calling the body politic. So like politics, but really not partisan politics, the body politic.
Okay.
Community, theft, and the cost of things.
Okay.
These are what I think most craft dramas fall into one of these categories. So I'll try to cite some examples.
I love the background. I love the color gradient.
Right?
We're being fed today.
The internet is a beautiful place. Okay, so one type of drama that is often had in the craft community, from what I can see, I should also mention, I am a new crafter. I've only been here a couple of years for the like fiber, like sewing and knitting type drama things. So this is just, I feel less like a native. Like I feel like I'm a native of book drama. This is
you're
more like
a transplant.
Yeah, I'm like an anthropologist more in the fiber community. Okay, so dollar exploitation. So there's three kinds that I've seen a lot of. One is taking advantage, like bigger businesses taking advantage of smaller businesses. This is kind of like the scam column. Bad business practices on the part of small businesses, and then outright scamming of customers. There's a lot of different dramas in that area. So like taking advantage of small business. Also, we could just go back to Fiberfest. Woolen Folk did a lot of these.
Yes.
So taking advantage of small businesses, like I'm thinking about how they screwed over all of those vendors in their different tents when they were supposed to be inside, and it was just like,
that was insane.
Yeah, like they lost all this money and
the space, the lack of accessibility.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and that gets to the accessibility. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Bad business practices, again, Woolen Folk, like the fact that they were charging so much for tickets, the fact that they hadn't locked down their event space, like just how badly that festival was run. But another big one is people overdoing pre-orders is one that gets into sort of a bad business practice, and it can verge into scamming customers. So what some of these smaller dyers do frequently is that they maybe can't afford to fund the inventory they need for a drop that they're doing for like a color collection. Makeup, side note, also has a lot of these same ones too. Small makeup companies do this as well. So instead of them having to raise the capital and then selling it after the fact, they'll do pre-orders to fund the capital they need to produce the good. But the risk is if they don't get enough money out of the pre-order, then they can't fulfill the orders they've already taken, and then people like either lose their money or it takes a really long time to get the thing that they've pre-ordered. So it's essentially just a bad business practice because there's so many like smaller businesses in this community. There's a lot of like people who are not really business people, so they do shady things or things that they just don't think through the implications of. Or
that seems to be a problem in general of people not being business people and getting into a business. So are the majority of them, you said dyers, so like they buy wool or the fabric and they dye it specific colors?
That's most. Thank you for checking my assumptions here. Yes. I say this as if everybody is watching all of these, all of these people. That's exactly right. So independent dyers, usually what they do is they'll source the wool or the fiber from a mill, or maybe they'll get it from like a big wholesaler sometimes. And like the thing that the value proposition they are adding to the supply chain is that they are doing hand dyeing. So they are like small batch dyeing unique colorways that you couldn't get from like Joann's or Michael's or even some of the like bigger independent retailers. So like some of the big yarn retailers are like Knitting for Olive, Knit Picks, Pearl Soho, Drops. Like they're bigger yarn brands, but they're not necessarily owned by big yarn, like whatever that is. But they're big enough that they're not hand dyeing, they're doing like machine dyeing in big batches. So that's like the difference of these small businesses, is that they're small batch dyeing. And they're very expensive. So if you pre-order something that's like 5 skeins and it costs you like $150, you're sitting there waiting for like months for something, and either it doesn't show up or
am I gonna get this?
Yeah.
This year I was about to say, I'm like, what does this fall under that?
That's gonna come up under theft.
Okay.
Yeah. So a particular one that there's usually drama around are advent calendars for yarn. Which I did one this year. It is fun, but it is very expensive, and I don't think I would do it again. But a lot of these more independent ones, they're trying to get their enough pre-orders in time for Advent. And then especially in that scenario, because people don't necessarily know what's going to be in the Advent, then if they're disappointed, there's drama. And
is the Advent a different fiber or wool every day?
It's different colors usually.
Oh, okay. Different colors. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the one I did, it was all the same underlying fiber, but it was a different color every day. So in theory, you could take like, and the colors are supposed to go together. So like a lot of times it'll include a pattern that you're meant to make with all the yarn at the end of it, or it has like a certain color story, or it does like a fade, which some people like to do. So
very fun.
Yeah.
If you like if you like it,
if you're into that,
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized you can do, sorry. Oh my gosh, that's such a thrill. Okay. Um, I moved my mouse and there was like a little button that came up and I was like, what is that? Yeah. And then there's also just straight up scamming people. Like there's MLM type scandals. There's people, I don't know what they want to be called now on their channel, but Aiden, whose channel is currently called Emma in the Moment, but I know that's dead naming them, so I'll just say that. But they have a great video about an indie dyer named, oh gosh, what was it called? Like Yarn Creations. I don't know. It's like an hour and a half about this highly scammy independent dyer from like the early 2000s and how it was like documented on these forums, and like they went through the full autopsy of that situation where there was this big scamming.
Scammers have so much energy to be doing something like that. That's crazy. Yes. I'm like, just think you can put this energy to something good. Mystic Yarn Creations.
Yeah. There was a lot of sort of like robbing Peter to pay Paul. So like they wouldn't be able to fulfill new orders because they were fulfilling old orders. Their dyes were not
some candle companies, some bookish candle companies.
Yes. Yeah, then their dyes were not like actually holding in the yarn. So then when you went to like wash your project for the first time, the dye would be everywhere.
I would lose it.
It was bad. But that's a great video. I highly it's so entertaining. Even if you know nothing about yarn, just reading through all the receipts of all these people from 20 years ago on these forums is very interesting.
Sometimes it's the best when you're like, I have no investment in this. Like, this isn't mine.
Yeah, this is not my community. So I'm just like, okay, I'm here for the so any thoughts about how this particular vertical does or doesn't relate to bookish drama?
Yeah, exploitation. So I think really when you were saying these things, the things I thought of were past controversies again with like bookish candle makers and book boxes. Especially in the pre-orders. I'm trying to think of names right now. Was it Bakery or Bookish Box? The ones where people are placing orders, and some of these had been established for a while, but then people are like, I haven't gotten a box in months.
Getting sketchy after.
They're not hearing back from anybody. And because before I got on BookTube and I was just on Bookstagram, I was big into collecting bookish candles. And oh my God, I would have to ask my friend Cody, but there was this one candle company, and was she the one who faked her death? There was so much mess.
The yarn lady I was talking about did fake her death, which I think is like,
why do people do
common move when your scam has come to the end of its rope?
What the heck? That seems like that's just something I would never think of, and that just seems to be people be like, you know what? It's time. Gotta pull it out.
I'm anonymous here online. Nobody will know. I'm just gonna pretend I'm dead.
Yeah. What the heck? Because like this candle lady, like because people would because I mean, at one point there were some companies are so popular they had to do pre-orders and they would sell out in seconds. And then it was like months going by, people weren't getting anything. Some people got a partial refund, some people had to report it to the bank. So that's reminding me on that really the small business scale, less the large. I mean, we can always talk about Big Five or big publishing taking advantage because they're just underpaying and overworking everybody. But the scammy really makes me think of those smaller companies like that. I haven't heard anything in a while, but I remember I think a Bookish Box was definitely one. And people were like, it's September. Where's my April box, bitch? Like, what's going on?
Well, I will say I ordered something from an indie dyer that was supposed to be dyed and ready to ship for Christmas. And I ordered it in mid-November and it's still not here. And I've started having to go back and forth with her. And I did look up on Reddit and they were like, so and so is notorious for this, and I'm like, I should have looked it up. I should have taken a look
It's like,
before I put this
I
order
want
in.
to support small businesses, but you
Yeah.
have to remember you are a business. And a lot of these things, because things come up, right? A lot of these things could be, because most people are reasonable. There's always gonna be people who aren't, but most of them could be, you could avoid a lot of this drama if they communicated with people. They're like,
Yes.
my boxes got delayed, so I can't ship them out. But that's the problem, is they just don't say anything, and they let people just sit there for weeks or months not getting something, instead of being like, hey, I know this is so frustrating. Like, here's my proof. I ordered this, because sometimes the factory, the whatever that you're ordering a product to send out your product is back order or something, shipping, it happens. But I don't understand why they never like try to get ahead of it. And they're like, maybe if I just be quiet, they'll forget.
Well,
No,
and like, I will say in general, I have had really good experiences with most of the small businesses I've ordered from. Like Cornelia Fiber Co. is one that's local, so like I can literally just go to her warehouse and pick up my orders. So maybe that's a little easier to do.
Oh, that's delightful.
But like Megs and Co., most of these small dyers I have ordered from are really on top of things, and like there's no problem. So like it's not all or even most, but like some of these, you know,
when you run into that one,
it doesn't hurt to do a quick Reddit search just to see if somebody has like a reputation for those kinds of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very simple.
They're like, nope, skip that part. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like, as if we are not going to talk to our bank or credit card company. You are not getting my money.
Well, that's going to be my next step with the lady of like, hey, because I don't want to do a chargeback on a small business. Like, I really don't. It's not good for their business. I understand that. But like, you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm going to give you another week. And if you don't do this, then I have to. Like, I'm not just going to let you take, you know, I think it's like
that happened to me with a, and it was like $250 for someone I commissioned for art. And the problem is I had worked with her before and had no problems. And then the second time, like, she just like ghosted me, and I like sent an update, and I'm like, and then like,
what's going on?
Yeah, it was, so I eventually got it, and then it wasn't even what I was like, you know what? I'm done. Okay, thank you, goodbye. I know I'm not working with you anymore. I'm gonna work.
I know.
Not the person who did our art, just so you know, I still love her.
Oh yeah. She did a great job. I love our art. And like, you know, like you said, most people are pretty understanding if like things happen, but you just can't ghost people. That's where you start to really have some big problems. I've also hopelessly messed this up, so I should just put these stitches on hold and come back to it when I'm not.
What is it?
Talking.
Is it a garment?
It's the button band of this cardigan.
Oh,
I was cold and I was like, maybe I can just wear it while I'm working on it.
That's amazing. I was telling Robin, I was like, oh, I really want a cardigan. Do I need to learn to knit? But could I invest time in spending money, like investigating and like spend money on a really good one? And I'm like, yeah, but Jessica, shouldn't you just invest hours and time and money into learning to knit instead?
Or you could crochet.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Sorry to get off topic. What, besides the needles, what is the difference between crochet and knitting? Like, is it different material? Is crochet chunkier?
Usually, yeah. So it's just so a crochet, you have a hook and you're essentially making like different knots almost. For all the people who actually understand and can talk about this technically, please forgive my basic difference. But so it's mostly like a series of knots in a pattern, whereas stitches, I guess, are technically also knots, but they're more that like, so for example, you can't machine crochet things really because of the intricate like system of like there's not really an efficient way to machine crochet something so most of your garments most garments are knitted.
Okay,
because
that's what I was thinking.
In like it's like a series of loops. Maybe that's a better way to think about it, is like loops are knitting. Okay, yes.
Yeah. And then
Crochets are
that's
nuts.
what I was thinking, because saying knitting clothing feels better than crochet more drapey, because I was thinking if I wanted to make something, I think I would rather it be knitted than a crochet.
So this is you know what? We can just jump ahead to an area of drama under community. Cliques and elitism, there's ongoing always drama between crocheters and knitters about which one is better, what's easier, what's harder. Do knitters think that they're better than crocheters because crocheters are more likely to have like less? Crocheting is more common for non-garments
Mm-hmm.
because we are so used to seeing knitted garments that are machine produced. Like our eye is kind of trained to think of knitted as being nicer for garments.
Yeah.
But is that the look I prefer? Yes, but I'm also aware that that is conditioned by the fact that I'm so used to seeing machine made clothing that I think
Mm-hmm.
we're just less used to seeing crocheted clothing, and so it doesn't
Yeah.
look like, if you see something crocheted, you immediately know it's handmade because it has to be handmade, basically.
Yeah.
um so there's always like some accusations of elitism and like which one is easier to learn, which one's harder to learn. Knitters think they're better because their garments look more store-bought than most crocheted
Wow.
garments do. Knitters are less, like, crocheters are more likely to use acrylic yarn, I think, than knitters, because they're more often making something that's like a homeware or like a plushie or something that you would want acrylic yarn for. And there's like
How dare you?
a whole corner of discourse and drama about acrylic versus natural fiber. Like, this is like an entire segment of discourse about like which one is more
Wow.
ethical for the environment, which one, like, does it make you snobby to not want to work with acrylic? Like,
I love that. Like, I hate that this exists. I love that it exists, though. I just love how
yeah,
so every community is a mess.
every
They all have
community.
their.
Yeah, so I find crochet harder to do in terms of like reading the pattern and
Ooh.
understanding how to do a garment create like construction. I tried last summer and I struck out. I'm going to try again this summer. So I really just think it's whatever makes more sense to in your head to you when you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to learn.
Yeah.
But there's a perception that crochet is easier than knitting, which I
Yeah.
personally don't agree with because I have not successfully read a crochet pattern yet.
That is so crazy, because I've seen some people do really cool crochet clothes like on TikTok. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing.
I love the way some of, like, I would not necessarily for all of my everyday garments, but there's some really cool crochet pieces I would like to make that are
Mm.
garments.
Yeah.
Um,
Just crochet clothes because I use it. Yeah. Which is very drapey. Oh my God. But here's my thing. The more y'all are giving me these comments, I'm like, wait, I want to get in the knitting. I can't, but I'm like, Jessica, we can't get into another expensive hobby. But then I'm like, why not? The world is terrible.
I mean,
I'm sorry, my sun keeps moving. So I'm sorry, my
you're just
lighting keeps
beautifully
changing.
lit up. I'm being lit by the reflection from the snow outside my window. Um, yes, this is true. There's
Mm,
like, I think it's different. Different people vibe with different fiber crafts, and I don't know. Like,
yeah.
you don't have to be monogamous to either one. Like, I would like to get better at crochet because there's several crochet things I would like to make. And right now all I can really do is like a square. Like, that's all I like. I know how to crochet and double crochet, but like actually making it into something I don't really understand.
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyway, so there's like a whole elitism
Mm,
corner of
yeah.
drama, which I
That's,
think has some direct applications to the bookish world.
yeah. For me, okay, what does it make you think of? Because when you were talking about that, for me, it was making me think of like genres of like people being like, I read literary fiction, you read romance, you're not, like you're
Mm-hmm.
not as a highbrow reader as I am.
Yeah.
Um,
I was thinking of
or
that. And then also the like, you're not a real reader if you fill in the blank. So like you're not a real reader if you only listen to audiobooks, or if you read manga, or if
Yep.
you read too many books, or if you don't read enough books, or whatever.
Yep. That also makes me think, and it's so funny, I just filmed a video about this, but like you're not a fantasy fan if you didn't read Tolkien, or if you don't like Stormlight Archive, or blah 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 blah. Like you're not this reader if you didn't read. And I'm like, bye. But that definitely made me think of that.
Yeah.
Look at this overlap.
So we'll just on the community vertical, accessibility is a huge source of drama in crafting, because there are so many people who do crafting because like it's what they can do. Like maybe they have limited mobility, or maybe they it's difficult for them to get out of their house, or you know, for whatever reason. It's a very portable, accessible craft to people. So like, for example, Woolen Folk, when there was all those accessibility issues with the building itself, that was a big point of contention. Sometimes there's like drama. Well, okay. I'm gonna just leave it there, because this is one of the main areas of the example drama that I would like to tell you about once we get through this taxonomy.
Okay.
The accessibility, I think, is an interesting facet of it. But yeah, so that's an area of contention, which to me in the book-ish world translates to like people who say audiobooks are not real reading.
Yes,
and then it's like, we're like, no, what if you're blind? What if you're, dyslexic or whatever? Like audiobooks are really important to a lot of people and make
they're like, it's fine, but you're not reading, you're listening.
You're not really reading.
Shut up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, here we go. My sister both knits and crochets, but she only has one hand. The fact that she is able to do that with one hand is freaking amazing. I can barely do some of these things with two hands. So like, color me impressed.
The page turner.
Yeah, the page turners.
I love those.
You know what? We're nothing if not nerds. Or at least I'm not. So then and then the third one I have in here is it ain't what it used to be. So like the community was great until it got on YouTube. When it was back in the blog era, the community was so much better. The community was great until TikTok took off. The community was great until this or till that. Like there's always someone talking about how there used to be this golden age of community within the insert craft community until
I will say it used to be, I'm just 2020, 2021 though was unmatched because everybody was in the house acting a fool. Yeah. And there were so many reading sprints. That's my only, it used to be, and not everybody back outside, but people love to allude to when it was perfect and everyone was doing exactly the type of content that everyone wanted to watch. And everyone was so kind and everyone read great books. And I'm like, it's always been these very popular books. It's like
the popular books have just changed.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
And some of the creators aren't creating anymore who were, and it just shifts.
My only it used to be is I used to feel like I could recognize most booktuber channels, and now you can't. There's just so many. I feel like this year in particular, there was this huge influx of people from TikTok onto YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Either because a lot of lifestyle people who
and a lot of lifestyle
started making book content.
Yes. So now, because I've been watching a ton of favorite books of the year videos, and in years past, I felt like, I'm sure I didn't watch them all, but I felt like I'd watched a good quorum of them. And I just gave up. I was like, there's just too many this year. Like, I can't.
Yeah. I'm like, and I'll see, the thing that trips me up is I'll see a video and I'm like, ooh, and I'm like, who are you? And the video, let's say it has like 50,000 views. And I go to their channel and it says 500,000 subscriber. I'm like, what?
Who
And
are
so,
you?
yes. And
Yes.
some of them leave their lifestyle videos up, but some of them scrub them. So I'm like, you only have 8 videos. Something is not adding up here. I just get so confused. I feel so lost for a second. I'm like, oh,
It's so
you came from somewhere else.
yeah, it's so discombobulating too, because some of them are clearly TikTokers who have come onto YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have like they've only been on for a couple months, but they have like 20,000 subscribers already or something. And I'm like, how have I not heard of this person? And then I like look and I'm like, I do recognize them. And then I realize like, oh, I've seen you on TikTok.
Yeah. It says BookTube newbie tag.
Yeah.
I'm like 75,000 views.
Yeah, like who is this? So yeah, that's my only it ain't what it used to be, just in the sense of I feel like, I mean, I love to see so many people talking about books, but in terms of feeling like I could, you know, recognize most people who are making videos, like that is long gone.
Oh, the days of yore.
Back in my day. Okay, so that's the community one. Let's go back to common enemy, because this one will be pretty quick. Where like people rally together in alliance against some bigger force. So like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Maybe that's what I should have called this. So like there's some kind of regulation that comes down that everybody's pissed about, and so everybody's up in arms about it. So for example, the one like institution one that I'm thinking of is there was like some kind of like Olympics on Ravelry at some point, and the Olympic Committee sent them like a cease and desist for like copyright infringement for using Olympic in the name, and it went off. Like the knitters united and like forced them to like issue an apology and like a mea culpa. And then the other one is like against the social media platform. So like terms of service, or when Ravelry had its big website update, a lot of people hated it. And so everybody was united, mad about that. Or I don't know.
Someone commented and said drama about Ravelry's user interface or UI.
Yes.
People complained of migraines. That's the app that you're on?
Yeah. And I don't experience those problems. And I don't disbelieve that they happen, but I've yet to really understand what the problem is. And I'm sure some of it is that since it happened, they've made improvements so that it's not as much of a problem. But even after I watched the video that Aiden made about it, this video was really good. Even after they very meticulously went through it, I still don't really fully understand what the problem is. But I understand that it was causing people problems. So I acknowledge that. I'm just saying I couldn't explain to you really what it was, because I still don't really understand it. Also hate a brie.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of an example in the book world of like,
well, like everybody hates Goodreads together.
Oh yeah. Even though I still use it.
Yeah, I know. But they still use it. That's the thing, is like you hate it, but you still use it. That is a common...
I'm gonna complain about it.
Yeah.
Bob, the one Goodreads employee, I'm gonna yell at him every day. Why is this not working?
Institution, the one that I thought of is book bans. Like that kind of brings people together to be mad about that.
Very true. And I guess there's, Goodreads, and now there's Storygraph and Fable. I don't know. I swear every day on TikTok I see another one. I'm like, y'all, I haven't even made a Storygraph account, let alone all these new ones y'all are talking about. Well, there's too many.
And Fable is emailing me like every other day to do a sponsorship, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about
after their little AI mishap, because they emailed me. I was like, maybe not right now. I said, not right now is a great time. Maybe we can talk in the future. I'm just the AI. Stop using these stupid things to come up with these stupid summaries. Oh my god, I hate it so much.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the common enemy one. And then the body politic. So we get the example I'm thinking of is that Ravelry at some point during the first Trump administration banned pro-Trump discourse in the forums, and I think like maybe even censored some of the patterns. I can't remember exactly what their like policy was, but essentially they were like, hey, like we're not going to have fascists speak on this website. We've just made that decision.
Yeah.
So like you get this should be a neutral space argument, which we've just been having recently in the bookish internet. But it comes up from time to time of like, this is supposed to just be about the hobby. It's not
Wait, where people post, what, do they have like a Trump pattern for you to make?
Yes, many.
Oh god. Oh god.
Well, if you look at the history of fiber arts, like fiber arts have always been political. Like, I mean, even just think about Betsy Ross making the first flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's actually a lot of very political, like the pink pussy hat making
Mm-hmm.
at that route.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of political content, and Ravelry has said that this is not a safe space for Trump. So it created like this full, like, but it created like a full discourse about how like people who love Trump are being discriminated against, how this is just a hobby. We should be able to say what we want. This should be a neutral space. I shouldn't have to think about politics. Like, why do I have to think about politics?
Oh my god, I'm being triggered.
Yeah, I know. It's that whole discourse also happens.
Politics away from my books, okay? I'm reading for escapism, please.
Yeah, the quilters, I'm sure everybody, I feel like gets in on. I just think this seems to be an issue in every crafting or a hobby community.
Yes.
Then I put in quotes, but like I know nobody's actually saying this, but essentially when people are saying, don't judge me on my terrible opinions, that like I should be allowed to have a terrible opinion that's hurtful to you, and you should just not judge me for that. So
BRB, I'm listening. Sorry.
Okay. I don't know if I'm going to make this video, but I am thinking about making a video about like, I just want everybody to just accept that life is political. And like, if you want to judge me for my political opinions, I am fine with that. Like, they're not a secret. And I don't even mean like partisan opinions. I just mean like how my ideology when it comes to like how we live and work together. I am fine with you making judgments about me based on that. Mm-hmm. Like, feel free to do so because like I will be doing the same. And if you are not judging people based on like how they think we should live together as a society, I judge you for that. Like, I think you should judge people based on the like values that they espouse. I take people at their word when they say like, I don't give a shit about XYZ. I'm like, wow, that piece of information makes me think about you differently.
Yes, it's just like on Bumble BFF. I love how I move the blinds. It's worse. Anyway,
it's making you look like you're in a dramatic monologue. So like, I just am going to assume that you're about to have an Academy Award winning speech.
The people on Bumble BFF, I'm like, it says queer, apolitical, or apathetic. What?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Or just any, I don't care about, can we stop talking about politics? What do you, no.
Yeah. Well, and like, it's not even, I mean, racist, obviously, but like, even just like the number of people who announce that they're not following me anymore because I talk about Palestine on my socials. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's fine. Like, genuinely, if that does not agree with your values.
Yeah. I don't understand.
This is not the place for you. That's
where
fine.
It came from. It's like, yes. Like when I made the video, I think after the election, and people were like, someone commented, I'm a conservative and I'm a subscriber and I'm still leaving a respectful comment on your video. Okay. I'm not asking you to, but also why would you be here? If I don't, that's the thing I don't understand are the people after the election who are so mad. Like, why don't they want to be a community with me? Or why don't they want to talk to me? Why should we? You should be able to say, I believe in this and you don't. So we don't align. So I don't understand why we would want to, why would we want to be in community with each other?
Yeah. That people, I mean, I don't like to try, I feel always like it's performative to be like, I'm getting unfollowed. And like, it's not like, I feel like I probably gained more than lost from being public about that, which, hey, content creators out there, in general, if you don't have a shit opinion, it doesn't hurt you to be talking about your values and beliefs.
Mhm.
Unless, to the point of this, don't judge me for my terrible opinions. Unless you know that your opinion is bad. Like somewhere in your heart, you know it because you don't want to share it.
Yep.
Because you know, like Mama Tot, like her unmasking. The reason she wasn't sharing that was because she knew people would not agree with her. Because somewhere she knows that she doesn't have an opinion that people want to hear. Like,
oh, Ophelia. If
I always kind of wondered. That's why I never actually followed her, I don't think, because I was like,
yeah.
you remind me a lot of people who I'm like, I like you. I don't think you're a bad person at heart, but like,
Mm-hmm.
you have some profound blinders and selfishness that you don't seem like you want to address.
I'm like, being from the South, I know that type of lady. I've interacted with her. I've had her as a teacher. I've, worked with that kind of person where it's like, yes, they can be very nice to you and say, I don't have a problem with all these things, but like they have core beliefs that are very different from me. And sometimes I think people really struggle to separate those. Like, okay, no, they're not outwardly negative, hateful, rude. They're still very kind. They may have friends in these different marginalizations or blah blah blah. But it's like, but in here,
and I think a lot of the time for people who I don't think are by their personality like hateful people, I really just think it's a selfishness issue. Like they're not, they don't have curiosity about the struggles of anyone around them. And that's not the worst quality you can have, but it's also not a great quality. It's also not something that like I value in people who I listen to or want to be close to.
It's like, if you have to be in a situation with a person like that, you can exist, you can be cordial, you can be, like, it makes me think of like when I worked in an office. Like, yeah, I can be cordial and get along with these people, but I'm not trying to any more than that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Got the Catholics.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so that's the like, why is everybody canceling me? Why is everybody whatever? And it's like, you're the one who shared that you apparently have a terrible opinion and people are reacting accordingly. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Why? If you don't want people to judge you on your opinions, don't share them because there's a reason you're not sharing them. You know that they're bad.
You're like, this is a safe space for me to be a bigot. What do you mean?
Actually, a safe space of millions of people following.
Terrible.
And then prejudice in all its guises. So like, you got the racisms, you got the sexisms. Though interestingly in the fiber community, it's a different, it's like internalized misogyny is usually the sexism that you see. So there's that, there's ableism, there's a lot of homophobia because there's a ton of gay men who are knitters and crocheters. And they're in the same space as like trad wives, so that definitely comes up.
Yep.
Just every kind of ism you can imagine. Definitely there's some kind of knitting or crocheting or crafting drama around it. Classism. Yeah. There are a ton of trad wives. This is what is very interesting about the crafting community is that it's very like people who are interested in the craft because they want to be more sustainable or they just find it really relaxing and enjoyable or whatever. And then there's like, I do this as a part of my identity as like a womanly
This
craft.
is what I'm supposed to do. This is my place in the home.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be making things from scratch. And
yes. They
Oh,
do some textile craft.
love them a textile. Can you elaborate a bit on classism, how that shows itself
I think
in
that
knitting?
this gets into the whole like acrylic versus natural fiber thing. So like there's some people who are hardcore and either like there's some people who think that anybody who wants to knit with a natural fiber is intrinsically like classist and elitist because it does tend to be more expensive. There's also people who only knit with natural fibers who think that all acrylic or non-natural fibers are garbage and they're like intrinsically bad for the environment and wasteful, and people are just using all of this acrylic and these kind of like fast fashion throwaway things. So, and then there's this element of like, well, yeah, but natural fibers are more expensive, so if you act like that's the only thing you can knit with or crochet with or whatever,
yeah,
you're kind of blocking out.
You can't afford wool from a hand-fed Scottish sheep.
Exactly.
Loser.
Yeah.
You broke.
And this gets into, I think, like the consumerism. Like, it is interesting because part of the appeal of making your own stuff is that it is intrinsically slower fashion. But I will say that especially with the like TikTokification of the craft, there you do see people like feeling, I think, pressure to knit more and like have faster fashion. So
like they is there like competition around like how much I don't know what happens on, is it Ravelry? Is that
Ravelry?
Is there like, are there wrap ups like I knitted this many things this month? Is there like competition over amount that you produce?
More so on social media, like TikTok and YouTube stuff.
Okay.
Less, well, I say that I still don't really understand the social aspect of Ravelry. After I did my Everything I Knit This Year video, I got a bunch of Ravelry friends. I honestly don't know what it means for us to be friends. So if I'm not doing it right, I apologize. But I see it more as like, I'm doing a knit 3 sweaters in a week challenge. And then like kind of, I think some people feel like that's not in the spirit of the craft.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, I'm like, I get that because it does, then you are kind of emulating the fast fashion machine. On the other hand, it's like, this is a hobby, just let people have fun.
Yeah.
And like, it's still probably better for the environment for them to be fast making these bulky weight items probably than buying them from a store.
Have you ever seen anything where someone, which even if you're, that's rude, even if you're knitting or crocheting very fast, I still feel like that's still hours of work.
Yes.
But have you ever seen anyone who's like, I don't know, maybe they don't work or they work from home or something, and so they can knit a lot more and they create more things and like, I don't know how I'm trying to say it, like get rid of them, like, or is it just them building up their wardrobe? I guess I'm trying to ask, is there anyone who is challenging themselves to like knit more and then is gets rid of, which I don't think you would, because that would be a very expensive item to just like get rid of. But
so I've heard rumors that some of the knitwear designers do that they don't really like, they make all these samples and then they just like give them to Goodwill. But I don't know. I mean,
you'd be lucky if you stumbled upon that at Goodwill.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like, I think a lot of crafters hit a point where they've made everything that they want to make for themselves. So they make a lot of gifts. They make a lot of things for like charity. There's this really cool charity, I think it's called Knit the Rainbow in New York, where you can knit for homeless LGBTQ youth. And that's like a great reason to use acrylic, because I'm sure that those would hold up a lot better in circumstances where you can't, you might not have regular access to water or like being able to clean clothes routinely,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that my nuanced, correct opinion is that there's a fiber for every occasion. But I think that I don't know. I think people feel both defensive and whatever on both sides of that divide.
Yeah.
I don't use acrylic because it, like, the whole reason I started knitting was that
Trying to get away
I'm
from
trying
those
to get,
fabrics.
yes, because it's giving me rashes from
Yeah.
my chemo. So that's why I don't, but like, God, I wish I could, because it is much more affordable. Like, and it's much easier to source, I think. Yeah, let's see here. I'm trying to, everybody's got so many
And
great
sell at
comments.
markets. That's very nice.
Yes. Oh, there's another thing fighting over using knitting machines.
There's knitting machines?
There are, and if I had the space, I would get one of those. There's like these really cool, I say cool, it's so nerdy. There's these really cool vintage knitting machines that are huge, and it's like, it has these like gigantic paddle things you move back and forth, and it like creates, it's like you're hand cranking a knitting machine that you would use to make like commercial garments.
Oh.
And they used to sell them back in the like 50s, 60s, 70s. Like, you used to be able to get one, but they don't make them really anymore.
Oh my God, what would that cost?
These people are crazy in terms of like sourcing them and then like fighting over all of the vintage parts.
Ooh.
To like maintain them. You can also get like a Centro, which is like a circular knitting machine, and those are like $40 to $50. Like, you can just get one of those, but like the full, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is wild.
This is very funny. I'm a few minutes behind, but knitting blew up when I was in high school, and we had a bunch of weirdos and punk kids doing fiber crafts with grannies. It's wild to see where it's at now with the trad wives and the gays.
Watch a knitting machine video. Okay, not to get off topic, this might come up. If someone was like, I want to get into knitting, what is an average, like a range of startup cost? Well, if I were to use natural fibers.
So here's the thing. There is Engineering Knits is a great channel just in general. She makes really cool videos with those knitting machines. So there is a brand that it depends on where you live is part of it, because there's this brand that's in Europe called Drops, and it's like, it can be like $2.50 a skein for merino wool.
Dang.
But in the US, you have to buy it from Wool Warehouse, so like, you might have to pay the shipping, and who knows what's going to happen with tariffs. So like, you can, if you're willing to put in some work, you can find natural fibers at a decent price. It's not, to your point, if you're a beginner, you may not know that.
Yeah. Do you, if my first goal, let's say, was to make, I don't know what's the easiest thing to start with, a scarf, let's say, how much? Okay, never mind. What would be the first?
You'll pull up. Make a hat, make a, you know, something that's a little more fun. Actually, I think the best thing to make is something you actually really want, even if it's
well, it would be a cardigan. But I get fearful about less learning how to do the knitting and more about the measuring and figuring out how to do that. But how many skeins
the pattern
do you have to start with? Oh, okay.
The pattern will tell you, and that's part of why people are saying they don't know how much that really is. So like, it depends on what size you are. Right. So that's the other thing. It's less accessible for people like me who are a large size, because I might have to buy twice as much yarn as somebody who's a smaller size. There was a movement, speaking of accessibility, called the fat tax, where certain indie dyers were starting to give you promo codes if you buy more than a certain number of skeins, because like, it's a recognition that I have to buy more yarn, period. Like, if I want to make anything. But yeah, a pattern will tell you. I'm trying to think of there's a sweater called the step-by-step sweater, and then there might also be a step-by-step cardigan that's really popular, and it's aimed at beginners. And it's like, there's YouTube videos, like, she holds your hand through the process.
Okay.
So
or I might just get in my car and drive to Nashville. I'm like, hi, Mara.
Or that.
Show me.
I would, if you showed up at my door and wanted us to have craft or noontime knitting, nobody would be happier than me.
Like, let's take a break. Let's go get tea and then come back.
Yeah.
Wait, this is sounding delightful.
Let
me put that in my notes.
Put that in your, start that away. So it just depends. Like, the cheapest would be a wool blend, or asking someone who's, that's another good point. You can get, on these forums where people are just trying to get rid of yarn, and thrift stores, like, you can definitely get supplies at an affordable price, like, for sure. You just have to be a little more creative, or like dig
do
more
a little bit
to
more
get that
legwork. Yeah.
But you could also just go to a Joann's and, you know, pick up whatever they got. Okay, so let me just speed run through these last two, and then we'll talk about the actual drama. I was going to tell you about. So theft is a recurring gigantic area of discourse and drama. So the main thing is that there are endless accusations of people copying each other's patterns, or copying designs, or copying color ways for the indie dyers, as if this craft has not existed for thousands of years, as if anybody is doing anything that original. Like, I mean, it's very funny. And Made in the Moments drama channel has so many videos about copying accusations. These girls constantly think that they're copying each other's basic fully stockinette raglan sweaters. Like, it's just insane.
Yes, how dare you make a blue sweater?
Yeah.
There's only one blue sweater, and I made it in the year 2015.
You made a stockinette sweater, a raglan construction with a folded hem. That doesn't mean anything to anybody who's not knitting, but it's just like the most basic things that they're like, they're copying me. They're definitely copying me. I've heard this place is great. Smart in Nashville. I need to go there. Yes, they copy me for like 2-color raglans. It's just like, there's nothing new, but like most things have been done. It's just like how you write your pattern, or how you do the construction, or whatever. Like, there's little things you can do, but yeah, so that's like the biggest.
Are they, well, I see your next thing is, I can't afford it, I can't take it. So are patterns expensive?
They can be, and that is part of the discourse of like, patterns are getting too expensive. But on the other hand, like, designers deserve to be paid. So there's constant back and forth with that. We will definitely get into this one for the sample drama that I'm gonna.
Danny, I know so much new vocabulary.
Yes, it's like a whole new. A raglan is like, you know, those shirts that have the seams that kind of go like this, like it starts here and it goes under the sleeve. That's a raglan construction. So basically, you have math is hard. You're basically dividing the stitches so that the front and the back have twice as many stitches as what's on the sleeve. So it's like it's like an easy construction. It's like usually one of the first things people teach you how to make. Yes, the baseball tee. That's exactly right. Like a baseball tee shape.
Yeah, gotcha.
The freshly new knitter releases poorly written pattern for $20. Yes, this is definitely a source of discourse. Of like, this is a terrible pattern, it's doing nothing new, and you're charging like $30 for it. Okay, and then the final one, money, drama, cost. To that point, XYZ is too expensive or isn't worth it. So like, some of the indie dyers who have like really high costs, and really there's not much of a reason for it other than their branding. So it's like they don't have, so like some of these indie dyers source really interesting yarns from like these niche mills, or Like they'll find, something that not very many other people have. And that is a little more understandable why they might charge more for that. But some of these is just purely branding. It's purely just they're popular and it's the aesthetic. Or like Sparks was saying, somebody will charge a ton of money for a pattern that has a bunch of errors in it. It hasn't been tech edited and it's a piece of shit basically, but they're popular on social media. So
yeah, to Danny's comment, or someone just has a naturally good physique and they're like, I'm selling you a booty plan, or it's like, that's genetic, ma'am. But
yeah, is the plan have the same mama as you?
Right? Do I get to be reborn? Because let me tell you what, those 10 squats are not going to give me that booty. I should know. Startup cost for dice. Are you going to get into dyeing?
I don't think so. I don't know how I would do that with cats
messy
in the house. It sounds very messy, and it's a lot of work from what I can tell. There's a guy on Instagram called Arcane Fiberworks, and I watch him, like his TikToks mesmerize me. But just watching him do it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this seems like so much work.
Yeah. I don't even want to dye a t-shirt.
Yeah. And then people also get into hand spinning where they're spinning the yarn, like they take the fiber and spin it into the yarn.
Oh my gosh.
And once again, I'm like, that just seems like so much work that
I love when there's a niche inside the niche.
Oh, there's baby, there's some people who like by the time they've been knitting for 20 years, they are making they've got Betsy the sheep out in the backyard. They're
starting
her.
Literally from the source.
They're literally going from the source and like all the way to the end of it.
That is amazing. Yeah.
That's how I feel about dyeing and spinning. I'm like, this is so pretty, but no, not for me.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other cost element is XYZ only costs so little because of the exploitation. So like labor exploitation.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout
Amazon
the supply
books.
chain.
That makes me think of books. Like, I only buy books from Amazon because they're cheaper. Yes, there's a reason why they're cheaper.
Yeah. Here we go. Tara, we've got and now I barely know.
Full evolution. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any examples from the book world for theft. And I know that people have said like, ooh, so and so stole my video idea, or I did this thing and someone didn't credit me. That's probably as much as I could think.
Stealing each other's ideas for books, right?
Oh, well, yeah. That is true. Like right now, there's a copyright case between an author and Tracy Wolf of the Crave series that she literally took her book, or her editor took her book and gave it to that person.
Oh, is Addison Kane the one who said that she copyrighted the Omegaverse?
Oh God.
Yeah.
Man. So many. I always wasn't there someone who tried to like copyright the word cocky, and then
yes,
what a mess.
Fanfic drama. Sorry, it was just the het Omegaverse. Sorry,
messy.
Yeah.
And then the cost part. Yeah, again, I just think about books and people being like, well, that's my only thought really about books. Or when I guess you could get into like the pirating conversation of like books are too expensive, and so I deserve to read them. Sorry, you can never get away.
Before I tell you about this drama, I did just get an arc of something that is supposed to be the first mainstream published Hermione fan fiction cleaned up.
Where did you get this arc from?
I'll send you the name of it. It's on what's it called right now?
NetGalley?
Yeah, it's on NetGalley. I was like, this sounds interesting. And then I was reading, I was like, I'm trying to be better about it's a Berkeley book.
Is the cover black and pink?
Let me look.
I can't remember who the publisher. I'm trying to think.
The irresistible urge to fall for your enemy.
Yes. Yes.
And it's
Yes.
black and pink. Yeah. I just
Yeah.
read the description, was like, oh, this sounds interesting. And then I've been trying to get better about going and looking at Goodreads and seeing if there's reviews already before I request.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, Hermione fan fictions coming mainstream. And I was like, oh, now I've got to read this just to see.
Just to slowly, yeah, I was like, what is that? That one. So that is not a direct rewrite of a fanfic, but she does have a very popular fan fiction. But this is supposed to be an original story that's like inspired.
She's the manacled lady?
No, this isn't Manacled. She wrote Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. She obviously likes really long titles.
Yeah.
But Manacled is being rewritten to Alchemized, but that's July. That's
okay
by Senlin Yu.
Okay. Yeah, I just had to drop that in because if you were not aware, I wanted to make sure you knew.
I requested it on NetGalley. I'm gonna be so mad if I don't get it. I mean not so mad, but
I have my DE copy, and there's no way that I could accidentally send you something from it. I didn't say that. Nobody heard that.
Know. I didn't hear.
Plus, you're going to get approved, so it's not an issue.
Yes.
Okay, so to wrap things up, because my computer's going to die soon, I'm going to give you a sample drama.
Okay.
And we can map it in here. So recently, I will say, I don't have full deets about this because most of this happened on TikTok. And I find researching TikTok drama very difficult because of the way it's set up. Yeah, I know there's other people who are better at it than I am, but I don't know. So I did see a really good video from Cinema Knits going over this. So if people want to go see like a more informed person's perspective, you can go watch that. But in essence, what I had started to see on TikTok was people talking about this blanket that was all the rage. And I put up an example so you can visualize. It's called the 6-day star blanket. Okay. And the like gimmick of it is that you can do it in 6 days. Like you know, it's set up into 6 different sections and you can do one each day. Okay. It's a cool blanket. Thumbs up. Seems like that might be fun to crochet. Okay. So it's going viral on TikTok. Everybody's making it. I keep seeing people talking about like, whoops, I'm on my 5th 6-day star crochet blanket. Seems like people are having fun. I'm like, oh, look at the crochet girlies having a viral pattern that everybody's enjoying doing. That's so nice. Seems great. Then I start seeing like takedowns of the maker of this blanket of like, that, you know, nobody can understand this pattern. It's really difficult to read. And when you ask Betsy McKnit what her like questions about it, she doesn't answer them. Oh, did I not say that was the pattern maker's name? Betsy McKnit. Really? Yeah. Which I think is an iconic name to pick for your.
That is awesome. Well done.
Love it. And well, we'll get into it. So that was my introduction to this, was people. So like seeing everybody making it and then seeing all these people complaining about it. And I was like, I'm still not really clear on like what she did. People are saying she's being rude or like not answering their questions about the pattern, or that the pattern is poorly written. And I'm like, but if the pattern is poorly written, why are so many people doing it? Like, I don't know. Okay, come to find out, here's what I gather really happened. This blanket has been around for a while. It's not like a new pattern. Betsy McKnit apparently has been writing patterns for like years and years and years. And this one just like happened to go viral because it's available for free on her website. And she has YouTube video tutorials about it. So like it's pretty accessible to people in terms of like there's not a barrier to entry cost-wise. And it's a cool it's a cool pattern. So it started going viral, but like a lot of the people who are making it are not used to reading a crochet pattern. So apparently like when you go to the pattern itself, it says like this is an not a difficult pattern, but it's not for beginners. Like, this is assuming a certain amount of knowledge about how crochet patterns work or whatever. And people, like, I think are just not used to, the people who are making it on TikTok were not used to reading a traditional crochet pattern. But from what I can gather, there's nothing unusual about the way this pattern is written. It's a pretty standard crochet pattern, but if you don't know how to read a crochet pattern, then yeah, obviously.
Yeah. That's going to be hard.
Yes. So, and then she also has these YouTube videos, but some people didn't like the YouTube videos or couldn't follow them. So somebody, and the pattern is free on her website, on her blog, but there's all these ads around it. Like, that's how she makes money from it. Okay. Like any recipe website I've ever been to, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm used to that. So what somebody did was that they made a version of the pattern and that didn't have any of the ads on it and circulated that.
Oh.
And they said they were doing it for accessibility reasons. That, like, it was too, if you had ADHD, it was too difficult to read through this website because there were so many ads on it. And Betsy McNitt basically just said, like, hey, you don't have my consent to do that. Like, please don't circulate, like, whatever. Don't this is all in DMs. None of us actually know what was said because, like, they did not, Betsy McNitt did not put this on main.
Okay.
So she privately apparently asked her to not do that because the way she's making money from the pattern is people watching the ad, like seeing the ads or giving her views on the YouTube video. But then this blew up into, like, she doesn't care about accessibility. Like, this should, be available in a way that's readable for everyone. And so that's the accessibility discourse coming in. From what I can tell, like, I think it kind of died down for a while, but, like, I've still not really understood why she was getting so much heat for this because, like, it's very normal for people to monetize their patterns. Seems like she was monetizing it in a way that
you didn't directly pay.
Yeah, and she did, I think, based on the feedback, implement some changes to her website to make it a little easier to read for people. So, like, it sounds like she took feedback. And it sounds like the main issue people were having was that they don't know how to read a crochet pattern. Which I also don't. I'm right there with you.
It's giving bean soup. It's giving bean soup. I don't know how to do this. Okay, well, why are you on a crochet pattern if you don't know how to crochet?
Well, they know how to crochet, but, like, the traditional way, I think a lot of people have learned to crochet by watching
and not reading.
Yeah, which it's like I have complicated feelings about that because that's how I learned to crochet. My great aunt showed me, and, like, it's a craft that has passed down largely through people showing each other. So, like, I'm not saying people should have to know how to read a pattern, but, like, don't be surprised that you can't follow a pattern if you can't read a pattern. Like, I don't know. Like, and I get, people are very focused on, like, I don't want to make a different star crochet blanket because it's not the only one out there.
Yeah, I want to make this one. This is hers
because it's the viral one. So anyway, that's an example of the kind of drama you get in the crafting community.
Wow.
Do I mean visual drama? So patterns can have that, but a lot of them are written. So, and it does read like a foreign language until you get the hang of it. So it'll, like, a line of a knitting pattern will be like row 1, K3, P2, and then it'll have, like, asterisks around that and say, like, repeat 16 times. Row 2, P3, K2, repeat 14 times. Like, you have to kind of learn how to read it. It's a skill you have to develop to be able to read a pattern. I'm not disagreeing with that. But that's just, like, a skill you have to learn if you want to read that. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something about it because I couldn't quite follow the full TikTok origins.
Abbreviations and terminology. Yeah, definitely does not sound like something for you for a beginner. Like, you need to be well versed to be able to read the shorthand, it seems like.
Yeah. And I also can't read the crochet draw. Like I have not invested enough time to figure that out or found the right tutorials or whatever. But it does take there's a learning curve to it, I guess maybe is the way to put it.
Yeah.
And people who want to be part of the virality were like upset that it wasn't easy to learn it. So I don't know.
They're like, I want to make it, so I should be able to make it. So it should be easy for me to make.
Yeah. And I mean, like, this does get into the whole, like, how much should how much should designers be charging for their patterns? Like, what does fair compensation for patterns look like? Especially for patterns that are maybe not revolutionary. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, all of it I think is interesting, but I don't know that any of that is the fault or like duty of one specific pattern designer just because people want to be able to make a viral pattern.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Okay, there you go. Older style pattern rhyme, which can be hard, but people want the cooking blog level of story and images. Okay.
People are the things that become, sometimes there are things that become drums or controversies that you're like, this is valid. And then sometimes you're like, wow. This.
Once I found out that those were the core issues, I will say, to me, my impression pre-finding out what the issue was that Betsy McNitt had gone on like a racist rant blocking people. That was like the energy that was being brought to the discussions I'd
You're like,
seen.
oh my God, what did she do?
And so I was like, what is are all these people making blankets from a racist? Like, what's happening? And then it turned out like, no, it just sounds like she's an older pattern designer who has a different style of pattern writing and people don't like that. Like, that seems to be kind of what it comes down to.
It was crazy. What is yarn chicken?
That's when you're not sure if you have enough yarn to finish your project.
Oh.
And Kaylee, I'm also playing yarn chicken. I think I'm going to make it, but I may have to make my pockets like very short.
Dang it. Yeah. Don't copy someone's work and disseminate it.
That seems pretty straightforward to me that you should not be doing that.
Unfortunately, common sense, things that we think should just make sense. Don't. That is wild. The only thing I will say, I have no knowledge of this drama.
Yeah.
But, and this is it with cook, because most of the time when I go to a blog, it is for a recipe because I still use Pinterest for recipes. And I have also found this with like just trying to read an article on a mobile phone, especially. It is horrendous. Yeah. I understand that people have to make money through ads, but it has gotten out of control. You're like scrolling, even if you get jumped to recipe, here's a video, here's a link, sign up for my newsletter. No, hit the, I'm just like, there has to be a better way for this because this is and I'm like trying to screenshot the recipe so I can read. Something pops up. I'm like, oh my God, please.
That's what I do. Read. Yeah, that's what I do whenever I'm on a blog. Or actually, I've used a number of these free knitting patterns on blogs with the same problem. And I just scroll until I can finally get to the actual pattern. And I screenshot and work off of that. So they got their AdSense from me.
Yep.
Scrolling through. And now I have something that's like static and not.
Yes, because even like normally when I bake, I'll have my iPad. I like to have up if it's not coming from a cookbook, but even if I have it and I've already jumped to recipe, it'll jump back to the top. It'll do. I've already gone through the ad jungle and it'll do it again, and I'm like, understand, but you're making this impossible to use. It's so frustrating, and so then I just have to do the screenshot, and I'm like, I'll just use this because y'all are pissing me off.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think seems like a reasonable middle ground.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Oh,
I need to do that.
Print option. Look at that. There you go. So, like, there are things that you can do because I don't disagree, and especially if you do have ADHD or something where, like, you can get overstimulated by all of that, like,
because they will
totally understand that. But I just think that there's other solutions rather than like
sending it out as your own
and being mad that that's what the person's doing. Like, I just, Do you want her to just like make an ad-free version and charge everyone for it? Like that, I think, is the alternative.
But then they would bitch about that.
And you'd complain that she was charging you money for it. So I don't know. Like, it seems like there are workarounds, and people were the discourse I saw, not knowing the issue, was very heightened given what it actually turned out.
Oh, this lady is terrible.
Yeah.
And like, oh, that's what you did. Now we'll be using this for the PDF. Speaking of baking, I need to make something. I haven't baked in a while, but my problem is I'm like, I want to bake. I'll get out my cookbooks. I'll go on Pinterest and I'm like, oh, I can't decide.
Overwhelmed. Yeah.
And then I don't make anything.
You need to make a baking queue.
I do.
Like,
my friend said I should. Yeah. She was like, why don't you come up with 12 things and make one a month? And I was like,
That's what Ravelry does. That's the feature I best like about Ravelry is it lets you organize patterns into a queue, because I have the same problem of like, what do I want to knit or what do I want to do next? And then I just am like, oh, this is the one that's up next. So I guess that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I need to do that. Maybe I need to do it and like go be social so I can give it away, because if I make it and it's good, I will eat it all. And there is rarely a recipe that's making like two things. It's like yields 24. And I'm like, I will eat this entire
Neighbors.
Cake. Yeah.
You can win over the HOA lady.
Even though I'm convinced that my neighbor doesn't like me. It's so weird. One of my neighbors, they're a couple. And I thought we could be friends. Maybe I was naive because she's Black and her husband is white. I was like, wow, look at us. Look at us. Well, he is so nice. She like does not. She ignores me. I'm like, girl, I don't want your man. You're my neighbor. I was expecting to say hi, but she like, it's like she avoids meeting my eye. But he'll be walking because they have like a little girl and he'll be walking her to the playground. And she's always like, hi, little girl, and he's always like, hey, or a wave. And I was like, oh, okay, well, all right, sister. Guess what?
You're getting some suggestions here.
Jen!
Caramelized onion Gruyere focaccia.
Oh my god! What?
That sounds like dinner.
Who made that? I want it. I love Gruyere. I love focaccia. And I love caramelized onions.
Well, this sounds like a recipe for you. I like this idea of a recipe for two.
That is genius.
That is genius.
I've always been bad at cooking small, like even cooking for two, but usually that's fine because he would take some for lunch, for work, and then I would eat it. But then now cooking for one, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this big pot?
I make one thing a week and I eat on it all week because I just can't, which has recently been the dense bean salads.
I have one in the fridge right now. Oh my god, you guys are giving me so much. I'm over. Hold on, you guys.
I know, you're going to have to come back in the comments.
I'm like, take a picture. I'm hungry now. Oh, that freaking focaccia. Stop it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. That sounds like just a meal to me because you got a vegetable, you got onions, you got your protein, you got cheese, you got bread, you got your starch. That's a meal.
But Mackenzie, I did this with my favorite cookies, Urban Farm, French onion soup. Oh my god, I love French.
I don't think my tummy would let me eat that anymore, but that does sound amazing.
Oh.
When I whole batch freeze the dough balls for later, that is
I did that with my favorite. Their banana bread chocolate chip cookies.
Ooh,
excellent. So easy to like. I love banana bread, but these are just so much easier, quicker to make. And I made a double batch and froze them. And I still have some in the freezer right now. Because I was doing meal prepping desserts. I also baked a chocolate cake, but I put them in these little
in the tins.
So now I have individual chocolate cakes I can defrost. I have pumpkin muffins, and that sounds amazing. Those might be the 3 desserts that I have in the freezer right now.
I love that.
Olivia, I will send you. They're so good.
That does sound amazing.
You're like, oh my god, look at those old bananas. Guess I gotta make cookies now.
Whoops.
I love in kitchen.
Any kind like I love a zucchini bread. I love a banana bread, like a carrot cake, any of those like vegetables that make something really moist.
Mm-hmm.
I love those. Anyway, so that was our tour of crafting drama types.
I love the overlap that we can we all have our different niches, but yet the foolery exists across the spectrum.
And I'll tell you, when I was big into like the makeup community, a lot of this was the same for them. Like, I just think this is human nature.
It is.
When
Like,
we get on the internet.
it's so funny that I used to think before being on the bookish internet, I was like, oh, people who really love to read, especially people who read fantasy, are just naturally open-minded, you know, welcoming people. And
You would
of
think,
course,
but
yeah.
no.
And then I was like, wait, that is so incorrect. And yeah, the longer I'm on the internet, the more I see it's like, it's going to be in every, I'm sure the board game community has these problems, and the keyboard community. I'm like, everybody is going to have, because keyboards are
the stationery community. I knew they had a big drama about an ink, a retired ink color that had come back, and that it was not the same color as the original batch. I saw that on TikTok, and I was like, oh no,
rude. Jen, I know. I was
you would
like,
think readers would be like, I'm into other worlds,
fantasy worlds, and about different creatures and how they've been subjected. And I'm like, oh, they must just really understand.
This person knows.
The dark lilac. Oh God, I love that.
Every community. Yes, there we go. Stationary community confirming this was a problem. I'm telling, like, it doesn't matter how benign. It doesn't matter how benign your craft or your hobby is or whatever is. There's going to be drama about it. Oh, here we go. A trail running community had a big drama about a gel that didn't have as many carbs as it said it had. I would put that in the taxonomy of scamming customers.
Wow. Why would they do that? That happens from time to time with supplement companies, and they'll get sued because there's like, they said this had this much protein in it, and they're like, nope, it does not.
So,
Mara, look at this goddamn bread. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I might have to go to the store.
That's sending me to the bathroom just looking at it, to be honest. It looks delicious, but just the sight of that, I'm like, oh no, I think.
Oh, I am making this.
That looks amazing. Supplement PSA. So, remember, supplements here in the US are not regulated by anyone.
Correct.
Look up the Mel Gibson vitamin C commercial from the 80s if you want to see big supplements propaganda.
What?
But so it always there, you can pay for results on like testing on supplements of people who like do the, like, they get supplements and they'll test them to see like their efficacy. Is it what it actually says it is?
Testing.
Yeah. So you can do that, or like get something from word of mouth, because my neighbor was using an Amway protein powder and he almost died.
Amway?
Died because there was something in it that gave him a heart attack. Allegedly, according to the neighborhood party I went to where they were talking about it. I don't know that for a fact, but like, you just don't know what's in some of these supplements. You got to be careful.
And people, because I don't use a protein supplement. I can never find one that I like. I do have a protein coffee supplement, and I do tend to use pre-workout just because I like the caffeine. But the amount of supplements that some people take is insane. I'm like, you do not need to be one. You need to be tracking
this in your calorie content. Like, yes. I know you're a calorie counter just from how many supplements you're taking. Right? You need to count this in your calories, because this has to be 100 calories.
30 things, like here, green supplements, which I did fall prey to years ago. I will say that. Okay. Because I'm a picky eater. I don't like vegetables. And so I bought a green supplement years ago, and I'm just like, oh my God. But yeah, I imagine the planner community, the Bujo community. Ooh.
Everyone. I mean, everyone's messy. Every community has got its drama. Yes.
Tons of supplements. I'm like, so many of them you're just peeing out. So you're really just wasting your money. Like the one that I should be taking is vitamin D, because I just always have low vitamin D levels, and my doctor said I should. And then
from my autoimmune disease, I have like dangerously low vitamin D, so I do take that one. But I got I paid for third-party test results before I picked the brand because I was like,
oh yes. But so many people are out here taking biotin and vitamin E, vitamin D. They're taking, what is it? Not melatonin. What's the other one that's really popular right now for sleep? And there's various various ones that some are not good for and then I'm just like, y'all.
Oh, the cast iron pan ownership community is fighting about whether or not you can ever use soap.
Yes. Because I bought cast iron and so everyone was like, no soap. You can only use like kosher salt and lemon or blah 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 or water. And then people are like, most cast irons, the new ones, you can use soap, but people are still very like, no, you cannot use soap.
I mean, I just clean mine the way that I was taught to. I don't know if it's okay or not. I guess I just shouldn't talk about it on the internet.
Don't do it. They will come for you. Yeah. No soap.
Yeah. Well, and also like this gets into the whole, like, at least here in the US, our healthcare is so broken. Like it completely makes sense to me. People are looking for less expensive health solutions, but like you can't
have you
can't
seen the
B12 your way into into
they're
health.
like, I'm gonna take all of these vitamins that somebody said without taking vitamins without a blood test is silly. Exactly. It's like some of these things you may be getting to dangerous because a lot of things come down to the dosage.
Yes.
You can drink too much water. Okay. The red 40, most of the time you're going to be fine. But like you can drink too much of whatever energy drink and that's going to be bad for your kidneys or something.
Before we came on, I was telling Jess, she was asking what this was. I always do a Zip Fizz because this has like the right amount of caffeine for me. But the thing is, it also has B12 in it. And so therefore, when I first was doing my baseline blood tests for my autoimmune disease, the doctor was like, is there a reason why your B12 is 30 times what it should be? And I was like, is it this? And he was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure there was a reason. He's like, it's not hurting anything, but it's not he's like,
yes, magnesium for sleep, but some people aren't even taking the right magnesium and everybody's making a sleepy time cocktail and just but yes,
magnesium does anecdotally work. It knocks me out. And gives me the shits, both. So if I want to fall asleep while shitting myself, that's what I would take.
I have seen that recently people who have money, obviously, but they've been going to Turkey and getting like a full body workup. And it's like, they've been saying it's cheaper for them to fly to Turkey, spend a whole day going to all these doctors. Yeah, because one person said, like, it literally took all day, but she was going to gynecologist, all these things, doing all this blood work. It was like $900 plus like your flight and stuff there. And I'm like, I mean, depending on your insurance or lack of insurance, you may never be able to get that done.
Well, I thought you were going to talk about how people are going to Turkey for cosmetic surgery, and that this is exactly what I thought you were going to talk about. Those veneers. I'm like, no, be careful with the.
I don't support. I don't support that. Like, because so it's rare that people like have an actual medical need to have all of their teeth filed down for veneers. And they just end up looking a mess. Like, I'm trying to hold on to these bones.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing, I've seen so many dentists who are like, there's nothing like your own teeth. You may think you want veneers or dentures or something, but there's nothing like your own teeth. Like that changes how your structure of your face.
Yeah.
What you can eat. And I eat things that require a lot of chewing.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you had braces or if anybody else has had braces, but just think of, I don't know about you, my face shape changed so much when I had braces. Like when I got them off and like it took me a while to get used to the way my face was because of just the way my mouth, like the way I was holding my mouth had changed.
It's like shifting. That's another thing that's crazy to me about people going to like a basement dentist or whatever to get stuff. I'm like, these are bones. That's not something I want some random person playing with. Yes.
With nerves that are like arguably the most painful thing that can happen to you is someone fucking with the
oral
nerves in
pain.
Your teeth. Like,
no, thank you.
It's that and the nerves in your butthole, basically, are the two. Like, would you just go to someone's basement if you were having hemorrhoids and have them take them off for you? Like, I would not.
Well, you know, people were getting basement BBL, so I don't know.
That's a good point.
Granted, that wasn't interior, but yeah, I understand our system is incredibly flawed, but some things I'm just like still not worth the risk for me. No.
Yeah. I mean, I would fly to like Turkey if I needed something. I could see where I flew to Turkey or Korea. I've actually heard South Korea
Yes.
has great, especially if I needed some sort of like
I'm trying to go get my boobs
jaw
done.
surgery or
Like
or like a breast reduction or anything like that. Yeah.
I feel like they'd be better than what, yeah. I've heard it's real nice.
Yeah. Now I would not be doing the LuLaRoe Mexico tummy whatever thing they were doing.
Oh my god! I forgot about that. Oh my god.
Oh, Spain has excellent. There you go.
Okay, I can see. I don't know if this is accurate, but a TikTok did come up last night. It was like, if you can read this, then you're at intermediate Spanish level. And I could still read it because I was a Spanish minor and studied abroad. But here's my problem. Okay, I've always been fine at reading. I've lost my ability to like, you know, conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
So
that's me with French. I minored in French and I can like I can read aloud and I can, but my comprehension is garbage.
Yeah. And then if someone's speaking really fast, I'm like, hold on, you gotta slow down.
I'm like, I'd say when I'm listening to French now, I can usually tell what the conversation is about.
Yeah.
But I would not be able to like, engage.
And it depends on the dialect because like I still listen to music in Spanish. Obviously, like if I'm listening to Selena, I can understand what she's saying.
Salinas!
Anything for Salinas. Yes. There's another artist. I think he might be from Argentina. His name is Carlos Vives. I can understand a lot of what he's saying. But when I'm listening to Bad Bunny, his recent, I'm like, I don't know. That's not an instant. Like I have to look at the lyrics to be like, oh, okay. Because like just listening to what he's saying and his dialect, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I cannot understand a lot of the African and island French dialects. Canadian French is basically the easiest. Yeah, the Quebecois.
The Quebecois.
Quebecois.
Is my bad. Yeah. Carlos Vives is Colombiano.
Lo siento. And then like French, I don't know. My French teacher in college, the main one I had was from Marseille, so that's the English or the easiest accent for me to understand. But I can understand most France dialects, but especially the countries where they have so much slang that's like derived from French. That is it's so for me.
Most of my professors study in Spain.
No one understands Bad Bunny. It's okay. Bad Bunny don't understand Bad
I was
Bunny.
watching an interview and he was because someone was like, do you like think about people who are like missing what you're saying? He was like, even people who speak Spanish are missing what I'm saying because, you know, Puerto Rican. And I was like, okay. But yeah, most of my Spanish professors had studied in Spain. And so I studied abroad in Spain. And so stuff like Puerto Rico, even like Mexican, Dominican Republic stuff. I'm like,
oh, so you're saying Barcelona?
Barcelona, Ibiza.
Ibiza?
Yes. This makes me sometimes I really miss studying Spanish like language, and I'm like, I sometimes want to just get a master's in like Spanish because even though I don't, if I have to read Don Quixote in Spanish again, I will jump out of a window.
That's how I feel about Le Petit Prince. The number of times and Candide.
I'm like, can we read something else?
L'étranger.
But I love the sound of French. But I feel like the is hard to.
Well, I can't do the R rolling of Spanish very well.
I can Romeo.
I have to get in a flow.
I like when I would go to different countries. I recognize I'm an American; they already hate me. But I would try to have terms like practice things and like try. But I remember being in. Was I in France? And I know it happened when I was in maybe Geneva and they speak French and they would just be like, speak English right back to me. And I'm like, God damn, except this one woman in like, it was like a gelato shop. And she like, I said something instead of raspberry, I think I said strawberry or something. And she like corrected it, but in French. And I was like, merci. Yes, it's so annoying. I'm like, you're gonna bitch if people come to the country and don't speak French, but then they come to and they're like, oh, just speak in English. Like, I understand it can be frustrating,
I
but that
know.
one lady, that's a core memory that will stay.
It is very humbling to engage a native French speaker in French and then have them immediately switch
Yeah,
to English.
like,
I'm like, okay,
no.
I
You're
get
like,
this.
wow, I really practiced. I thought this
I'm
would be
really
good.
sad I didn't maintain my French because there was a brief window in my senior year of high school and freshman year of college where I would say I was pretty much fluent because
Yeah.
I was having 2 hours of French every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to the point where I could think in French.
Yes.
And it's just
I feel the
gone.
same. I feel the same. Especially towards the end of my study abroad, because we did what was an immersion program, so we lived with families.
Oh, so
and it was
you
a
were.
very small town. Nobody spoke English, so
Yeah.
it was just our little group. And even when we were together, we would try to be like, let's speak in Spanish. So like by the end, yeah, that same thing of like thinking. And
Mhm.
I was, I wasn't having to ask people to slow down when they were speaking. And I've always
And I could
just took
actually like
myself.
conjugate.
Yes.
Like
Oh my
naturally.
God.
That's the main thing I
Conjugation.
cannot do anymore. Like I cannot conjugate to save my life.
For me, what is the
Everything's gonna have to be
tense?
in the present tense.
I
Or
can do
I can do
like
the I am, I have been,
ing.
or I would like, or I
Yeah.
would.
I could
Those
do I would like, present, sometimes even future, but there's like I don't know what, I can't
what
think
I
of the
can do.
tense that always trip me
I
up.
have, I am, and I will. Those are the only three I could like.
Yeah.
Those whatever the full on
I
version of
think it
that
was
verb is, but
subjunctive.
yeah,
Tense.
yeah, exactly. The present is definitely the easiest for me. And I will say,
Yes.
so my like because I learned French from okay, we're gonna have to go soon because my battery is literally like
Oh.
giving me the red now. But the person who taught me French was a French missionary. Like that was why she was a French teacher, was to come back and teach all these fundies how to speak French
Oh,
so
of
that they could
course.
go save people in Africa.
Of course.
So I have so much Jesus related vocab I still remember. So it's like that branch of vocab, and then like beauty vocab, because
Yeah.
my current practice of French is whenever I'm in the shower, I pick a bottle and read the French label just to like keep my pronunciation up. So like I can remember a lot of that kind of like,
Jesus is beautiful. How do you say that?
oh gosh, I can't. I put too much pressure. I can't do it on the spot.
Man. Language.
Anyway.
Now I'm like, I need to get back into it, but I'm just never consistent with the apps. I don't know how to find a good way to like get back into consistent practice.
I know.
Just
well, I thought about doing like Duolingo or something just to like keep up some practice, but
yeah.
There's a French club at work, but they're all so much better at it than me that I stopped going.
Oh, but that's so cool that you have one.
I know. But the other thing is like half the club are people who are from French speaking countries, and I can't follow their dialect, and then I feel really bad because I've shown up as if I can talk to them in French. You're and like, I can't really.
Say that again.
No, I don't. Je suis désolée.
Language.
I know.
What a great combo.
Well, anyway, before my computer fully dies, let's sign off so that I don't cut you off midstream, because that would be awkward. Okay, there you go. Pro tip. Thank you for listening to Craft Drama.
Thank you.
And do you know what we're gonna? You have the next topic. Do you know?
I don't know.
We could do a joint one. We could talk about like the Delphi murders, or something we both know about.
Sorry, I just realized that there another. Anyway, my chin. Yeah, to be determined. Guys, just always. You'll see us soon.
You'll never know when we're coming. We
like to keep it mysterious.
Well, if you want to hang out with Jess, you can find her at Said by Jess most places, and Jess Owens on YouTube.
Yeah. But right now I'm dedicating my time to watching all the TikToks I can, just in case we lose her. But I do post YouTube videos usually twice a week.
Oh, I should download any of those TikToks I really want.
I'm going to back up all, but I just got another external hard drive, not just for TikTok, but because I needed another one. and I'm going to be back. Do you know how many recipes I have saved on
I was gonna say I have a lot of like travel tip things of
there?
like,
Yes.
oh, you should go to this place if you're
Also,
going here.
dances. I want to learn one day.
I know. I know.
So,
Well, be well, everyone. Thanks for hanging with us at an unusual time, and we will talk again soon.
bye.
Bye.